What's going on, everybody? The Original Mako back with some more Gunfire Reborn content. And before we get into this, be sure you check the links down below. As always, if you want to see me play some games live, we play a bunch of really cool, really fun games on Twitch all the time. I might be streaming as you're watching this, who knows? So check the link down below, check out the Twitch channel, drop a follow, and stop by sometime. We have a ton of fun, and I think you guys would really enjoy it. So check that out, and be sure to hit that subscribe button. There's tons of new content coming, whether it's on Gunfire Reborn and the progress of the DLC. Cult of the Lamb is a humongous game coming soon, and they're having a big trailer or gameplay type of thing going on in the next week or two, which I'll be covering, and just a bunch of different fun, cool, exciting games. So hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss it. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and get into what we are talking about today. And I haven't decided yet if I'm going to be using the menus more often to kind of show stuff, or if it'd be better to just have background gameplay going on while I talk about this, but you'll find that out eventually. So I'm going to be talking about what I think Gunfire Reborn needs to bring to the DLC in order to revive the game, because the game's heart has stopped beating, dropped dead. There's no pulse at all. And in order to bring that pulse back, bring a spark back to the community, in my opinion, the DLC has to be immaculate. There has to be zero mistakes. They have to do everything exactly right if they want this game to have any sort of resurgence, anything close to what it was like when the game was fully released. And I think it's a difficult task, and it won't be easy, but I'm going to go through some of the things I think need to be included, need to be added, in order for that to even have a chance of happening. Stay hydrated, kids. First and foremost, there has to be the correct bug fixes. There has to be. The past 3 or 4 updates, they have done all sorts of bug fixes that were not relevant really whatsoever. We can go to the most recent example. There's 23 bug fixes. They had a month since the last update. And one of the biggest issues and biggest run-breaking things in the entire game is that bullets and sometimes enemies can just clip through objects, especially in the desert. And the biggest problems are the bandit retainers, where their projectiles can literally just go straight through a rock and kill you, and you can't do anything about it. You just lose your run right then and right there because of a clipping projectile. That cannot be in the game. That is a run-breaking type of bug that needs to be fixed, and it hasn't been addressed in like 3 or 4 updates. I might have a clip of it. I'll see if I can find one to put as an example here, but the bullets will literally just go straight through a rock, and there's nothing that you can do about it, which can end a run. Maybe you're having the best run ever. You're having a super good time. You put yourself in a good position behind cover, but there's nothing you can do when the bullet just goes straight through it, and it ends your run, and you never have a run that good again. It's a game-breaking type of bug, and bugs like that need to be fixed and addressed and just fixed. That can't be happening if this DLC comes out, if you want your game to be talked about and bring the community back to it. So that's the most important thing, I think, is making sure those bugs are squashed and just never seen again. Next up, the next most important thing that I think the DLC would need to bring is a plethora of good balance changes. Good balance changes. There's 2 very important ones that I'm going to be looking at here. One of which having to do with everybody's favorite boss fight, the Wind God. This little guy right here, ever since its creation, ever since it came out a while ago now at this point, many people from that I've talked to that play this game, play it a lot, play it a little bit, play it somewhat, whatever, agree that this boss fight is annoying difficult and not fun difficult. This boss fight is annoying. It limits the player's build options, especially for newer players that are still trying to learn the game, and it's not fun. Nothing that happens in this boss fight is fun. The boss is constantly moving around. He never stays still for more than maybe 2 seconds at a time. There are always traps on the ground that you have to be looking out for, while there are tornadoes that track you and tornadoes that travel extremely fast that go at you. There is an immune phase when the boss goes completely immune. There is a like dive down attack that does a decent bit of AoE and shoots tornadoes out from it. So you have to watch out for that. There, between the boss's nonstop movement and you having to constantly worry about defense, killing this boss, once again, especially for newer players, is an extremely difficult and annoying task, and nobody has fun with this fight. Very few people enjoy this boss fight, and nothing's been done about it since it came out. I have to believe that they've seen stuff about this fight that people don't enjoy it, and they still just haven't done anything with it. So good balancing, something like that. And the other big one is somehow, for some reason, they have been nerfing the Frenzied Shark for the last 3 updates. It's already the worst weapon in the game, and they're making it worse and worse. So if they don't do something to fix this and a few other weapons that are maybe slightly underpowered, then it takes them out of contention of ever being used for any reason. You might as well just remove it from the game. If they don't want to balance it, I honestly would rather see them just take it out of the game, not waste a drop slot for another weapon, and just get it out, because they've been nerfing it more than it already was. It was already terrible. They're making it worse, and I cannot wrap my brain around it or comprehend how they thought this was a good idea. So the correct bug fixes and good balancing for weapons, I think scrolls are pretty decent. Scrolls are okay. There's a few that could get buffed a little bit, and maybe a couple that could get nerfed a little bit. But those are okay. The weapons are another big one where I think there's a few that need buffed, and maybe a slight nerf to a couple. But the Frenzied Shark is a big one just because they've been nerfing it for the past few updates, so I'm extremely confused about that. Next up, while we're talking about weapons, and speaking of plethoras, if this is going to be a paid DLC, there better be a boatload of new, fun, and exciting weapons to choose from. Now, once again, the more you overload the pool of weapons, the less likely players are to see their favorite weapons, so maybe you take a few weapons out of the game, like the Frenzied Shark, that are super unused and underperforming. But having a huge amount of new weapons in the game that are unique, that have right-click abilities, that are fun, fresh, and exciting, brings a whole new layer of gameplay, and probably is the thing that would get people to stay the longest out of these first few changes, obviously, is having a bunch of different things to mess around with and play with. So having just a ton of new weapons infused into the pool here that players can mess around with and enjoy, and weapons of all types: elemental weapons, explosive weapons, fast-firing weapons, snipers, melee weapons, bring something for everybody to mess around with and play with, and there needs to be plenty. This DLC cannot release with 4 new weapons and call it a day. They cannot. That can't happen if they want this to succeed. There's no way. Next thing, something I think this would be the kicker for keeping this game's lifespan going. They need a new area, and, in my opinion, either an endless mode or a new game type, a new way to play Gunfire Reborn. I think endless mode is the best way to do it, but maybe some sort of horde mode, round-based Gunfire Reborn mode, like a Gunfire Reborn Zombies per se, where you just go through rounds and rounds of enemies over and over. You're getting weapon drops. You're going to the Craftsman in between rounds, and the Peddler and the Phantom Peddler, and something like that, or just having you able to loop over and over again in the actual game. Something like that would be the key, the golden key, the golden ticket, if you will, to keeping this game's lifespan extended. The new weapons, good bug fixes and balances, those will get players for a little bit, but eventually they'll do everything and leave again. But with an endless mode or a new way to play and a whole new area, that'll keep players around much longer. Next on my list of things is a leaderboard of some sort. give players a chance to show their skill off in the game. Speed running is a good example of it, but give players who don't want to speed run a chance to climb some leaderboards, something to strive for, something to dig deep and go get. I don't know how you implement it. Maybe it's with a new game mode. Who can survive the most amount of rounds? Who can loop the most? Who can get the farthest? Whatever it is, give people a chance to climb this leaderboard. I think it would just be, once again, the competitive side of players who play it a little bit more competitively would really, really benefit and enjoy having something like that in the game. Hold on. Once again, stay hydrated. And we've got two more things here that I wanted to touch on. The first one being something that is these both being something I think is wishful thinking, but regardless, we'll still talk about it anyway. Can you imagine logging into the game, going to pick out your different character, and right here next to deployed, you see something right about here that says skins. You click on it, and you get a load of different skin options. Now, it wouldn't be as cool or exciting for the characters as opposed to weapons, because weapons skins I think would be super cool too, and as a player you get to see the weapon skins more often. But for multiplayer and co-op, being able to show off your weapon or your player skins would be super cool, as well as having weapon skins. Going through all of these, you click on it, and once again, somewhere down here it says skins, and you can go through a load of different skins. The weapon design, in terms of how they look, I think is great in this game. Could you imagine seeing a different version of this with different colored flames, some different glowing parts, and being able to use that in the game? There are so many cool things you could do with skins, and if you make them unlockable through progression, you know, maybe every single weapon gets a bunch of different skins, and they get a gold skin that you have to unlock all the other skins for in like a COD type of way. Each skin is unlocked through different types of, you know, challenges you complete with the weapon, and then once you have all the other skins unlocked, you get the golden skin for the weapon. Something like that would be another thing players could strive for, and it would be a super, super fun and cool way to keep people engaged in the game. And like I said, there are so many cool weapon designs that with a weapon skin could be just so cool. And I think it's a huge missed opportunity if they never try to take this route. So skins for characters and weapons. Could you imagine how many players would, you know, lose their minds if you could get different skins for the bunny? Can you imagine a beach-themed bunny skin? People would go crazy. People would lose their mind. Regardless, I think that's wishful thinking, but something that could very much help the game if they released that in the DLC. And last but not least, if you know me at all, you'll understand what I'm about to say, and you probably are like, why hasn't he talked about this? He talks about this anytime he makes any sort of Gunfire content, and that's mod support. Letting players create mods for the game is just the end-all, be-all. You could do nothing else to this game ever, and if you let players make mods, I guarantee you the community will thrive so much longer than it's already dead. So it would pick back up and thrive for a good chunk of time. And once again, I believe that's wishful thinking, and I'm not going to harp on it for too long because I've made so many videos, and in so many videos, even just normal runs, I talk about it. So we're not going to harp on it, but those things are things that I think Gunfire could do to make the player base excited again, make the community want to grind the game again. Good bug fixes, fixing all the game-breaking type of bugs, good balancing for weapons, bosses, enemies, and whatnot. Plethora of new exciting weapons that are infused into the pool. New area / new game mode / endless mode, something along those lines. Leaderboards to let the more competitive players strive for climbing to the very top. Skins for characters and for weapons. Maybe even new versions of the boss. Maybe new boss skins that you can unlock by doing stuff. Just a bunch of cool things you could do with skins. And, of course, mod support. That's it. Those are the things that I think they could do. We'll see if we get more news on the DLC as we get closer and closer to it coming out. But as always, I'll keep you guys updated. Let me know what you would like to see added in the comments down below for the new DLC. And it'll be interesting to see what direction they go. But thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Love each and every one of your faces, and I will catch you all in the next video.